This is the Boston Celtics news feed on CLNS. Today is Sunday, May 6th, 2018. My name is Matt Genek, reporting for CLNS Media, the leading online provider of audio-visual coverage for the Boston Celtics. Today's episode of the newsfeed is sponsored by Mack Weldon. The folks at Mack Weldon were sick and tired of walking into department stores and trying to buy socks, underwear, undershirts, and not getting consistent results, so they started their own company. Mack Weldon products will be the most comfortable you will try on. Called the Apple of Underwear by the Huffington Post, Mack Weldon attire is better than what you're wearing right now. So what are you waiting for? Log on to MackWeldon.com today and use our promo code CLNS for 20% off your first order. Again, that's 20% off your first order on MackWeldon.com just by entering our promo code CLNS at checkout. With a Game 3 victory in the books, the Celtics turned to Monday night at the Wells Fargo Center to close the coffin on a once immensely promising Philadelphia 76ers season. No one, including Vegas, could have foreseen this start to the series. Vegas had Boston as significant underdogs in Games 1, 2, and 3, despite home court in Games 1 and 2, and a higher seed throughout all of them. That trend will most likely continue into Game 4 as Philly will be playing for their season, which only a week ago was flying high after emphatically beating up on the Miami Heat in Round 1. The Celtics have proven to be a very different matchup than the Heat, and have stifled Philly's often explosive and potent offense through 3 games. Today, the Celtics have a much-needed day of rest in the city of brotherly love as Game 4 looms over the heads of the stunned Sixers and their fans. Boston has defied doubters all year long, and the system they have in place is primed for a battle in Game 4, and hopefully more to come with LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers in a rematch of the Eastern Conference Finals that feature 2 very different-looking squads from the previous year. At team practice today at Temple University, Jaylen Brown said his right hamstring is improving, but will still play with a minutes restriction in Game 4 on Monday. Jaylen played 29 minutes including overtime in Game 3 as Boston was in need of buckets and rebounding as the score got tighter and tighter down the stretch. Look for Brown to hit right around the 25 to 30 minute mark again in Game 4 as the Celtics will continue to rely on solid minutes from Marcus Smart and Shane Larkin from the guard position to disrupt any and all flow the Sixers might be playing with. Despite the usual gang missing from injuries, the Celtics were without assistant coach Jay Larranaga at today's practice. Coach Larranaga was interviewing for the Hornets head coaching vacancy in Charlotte. According to The Observer, Larranaga is one of general manager Mitch Kupchak's top choices for the Hornets job. Larranaga was also interviewed last week for the Knicks job, before that was awarded to former Grizzlies head coach David Fizdale. Despite what wrenches and roadblocks are thrown in their way, the Celtics team is in total command of this highly anticipated matchup, and their destiny will dictate when and where the series sees its inevitable conclusion. If Boston can't close out Philly tomorrow, Game 5 will be back at the Garden on Wednesday night. The other Eastern Conference matchup is also facing a similar 3-0 start to the series. The hard-to-fathom at times heroics of LeBron James has ripped the hearts out of Toronto for the 3rd straight year, as the number 1 seeded Raptors are 1 game away from being swept by the King. After his second buzzer-beating basket of the week last night, LeBron is looking more and more like the LeBron of our 2012 nightmares. The Cavs have arguably the weakest roster they have ever had in the Brad Stevens era, yet on the back of LeBron James, the sky is still the limit for this often pragmatic and disjointed team. Until LeBron says otherwise, this is still his Eastern Conference and we're all just living in it. For now. That wraps things up tonight for this episode of the Boston Celtics newsfeed. Thanks again to Mack Weldon for sponsoring tonight's episode and giving our listeners 20% off their first order with promo code CLNS. Remember to keep it locked on to @CLNS Media on Twitter all throughout this year's dramatic Celtics playoff run, and definitely check out all of our live coverage from Philadelphia on the CLNS YouTube and webpage. Be sure as always to subscribe to the Celtics newsfeed on both iTunes and Stitcher, as well as the CLNS Media Network mobile podcast app. Until next time, this has been Matt Genek with the Boston Celtics newsfeed.